Well, let's now meet our Global 100 Rise winner from here in South Africa, Parklands High School student, Ruby Mcculloch. And she's joined by Mark German, who's the Executive Director of the Rise Initiative. To both of you, a very good evening. Thanks so much indeed for joining us. And I think it's still good afternoon for you, Mark.
That is correct. It's still afternoon here in New York City.
All right, let's start with you, Ruby. How does it feel to be 1 in 100 in the world? Congratulations.
Thank you. It's overwhelming. I remember I got the email when I was still in school, and I just burst into tears, and some people were walking past me and they were like, "What's wrong with her?" It was probably one of the best moments of my life this year. And honestly, Mark, thank you so much for this opportunity. It's one of the best feelings. I'm still like in shock.
Wow. And I suppose, Mark, this is the kind of reaction that warms your heart because her life is going to be a little bit different as a result of your initiative. Tell us about it.
Yes. Last week when we made the announcement about the new cohort of 100 global winners, it's exciting to be part of a group that can be able to potentially change the lives of 100 individuals throughout the world. Ruby is just an example of some of the talent that we have found and just super excited. It was an incredible cohort, 69 countries represented in that cohort. Ruby's the only one from South Africa this year. We had 2 other winners last year, and just overall, we had 17 African nations represented in the Rise cohort this year.
All right, Mark, tell us about what you're trying to do with this initiative and some of the projects that you've seen come through. You've unmuted yourself. Oh, there we go.
Yes. So as mentioned in the introduction, Rise is unique in that it's a program that's really looking for brilliant people, such as Ruby, in need of opportunity with the goal of supporting them for life as they work to serve others. And here, we're not seeing this as an award for achievements, although Ruby and others have achieved a great deal. It's not considered a handout for life, but instead, we're seeing this as a bet on potential, the potential of the Rise network, how they're connected, and what they can achieve together. We feel like this is a very important initiative here in terms of the different projects that the youth are worrying about. And we believe strongly, like others, we subscribe to the belief that talent is equitably distributed, but opportunity is not. Rise wants to bring opportunity to the talent. And the way that we do this is by running what we believe is an innovative, non-traditional, inclusive youth identification and development program. We try to find youth who are often on the sidelines by traditional systems for identifying talent. We try, once we find them, to connect to one another, provide them with opportunities to solve hard problems in science and society. This is not just a one-time award. We make a commitment, we offer it over time throughout their careers, and we're hopeful that these individuals will solve some of the important problems. And then we just feel like too often some of the most brilliant people never realize their potential for global impact. They're never discovered. Sometimes they become isolated at a very young age, and they lack access to opportunities to deliver on their ideas or to face and overcome the social and economic barriers. So not an award for achievement or handout for life, bet on potential, beginning, not an ending, and we're giving opportunities for 15 to 17-year-olds to do work throughout their lives.
That sounds so exciting. Well, let's find out from one of these minds. Ruby, tell us about your project and what problem you were trying to solve that grabbed the attention of the Rise team.
So basically my project, it was inspired by the 2018 drought where we only had 50 liters of water a day, and a lot of people were watering their gardens with grey water. And I was just always asking, like, how is this affecting the plants? So then when Rise came up, I decided I wanted to do a project based on that. So I was determining how laundry water, shampoo water, soaps, like they affected the growth of plants, the soil quality and the root growth. And I made sure that I did like certain brands that are special in South Africa because I wanted to see how all of them differ. And the plan was to see if I could help increase food security and decrease water wastage.
Tell us, what did you find in your study?
So I can't say brand names, but definitely don't use don't use laundry water first cycle. If you're going to use laundry water, use second cycle. But it's a lot better to use shower water or bath water, like the obvious. And if it doesn't say that it's environmentally friendly, try and not use it on your plants that often because it will affect the soil mostly.
Yeah, Mark, and I guess this is the kind of innovation that you're looking for, because particularly here in Africa, so many people depend on small agriculture, perhaps at home, to grow vegetables. And something like what she looked at can make a huge difference to food security.
Yes, definitely. A lot of the projects that the candidates who apply to RISE have interests that serve the local community, but a lot of their ideas and solutions can be reached and achieved at a larger scale, working throughout the region or globally. Our hope is by identifying youth who have many different interests, not only in science, technology, engineering, math, but the humanities, they come together and they have opportunities to explore issues from different lenses and find creative ways to address some of the world's most pressing issues.
Yeah. Ruby, this isn't the only project you've been involved in. It seems like science has drawn you quite a bit. I've seen you do other things. What is it about science and experimenting that drew your attention?
It's just so interesting. I don't know how else to explain it. I know that you're talking about the ESCOM Expo and Intelsat, and it's just like biology and physics. It's just both such interesting fields, and it's so many questions that are being asked and people can't find the answers. So I don't know. It's a brilliant field to go into.
Yeah. I mean, there might be some pressure on you, but how do you see yourself perhaps serving the world in the future?
It's completely different. A few years ago, I wanted to go into physics, and then my entire life, I've always been drawn to service at the same time. I grew up knowing that I should contribute to people who have less than I do, even if I don't have much in that moment. And I was lucky enough to get into a high school where I could thrive with service, and I found a love for it. I fell in love with it, and especially this year, medicine has been calling my name because I want to help as many people as I can. So it's completely different from researching in biology, what I thought I would do.
Wow. Do you know what? At your age, I had no clue still. So it's so good that you already have a mind and a direction that you want to go. Mark, how do you find the rubies of this world? Because the planet is enormous, and yet there you are with this huge initiative to try and find these ruby gems.
Definitely. It takes a lot of partners to be able to help us find such individuals like Ruby. When we started, this was a shared initiative between Schmidt Futures and the Rhodes Trust. The Rhodes Trust, of course, brings their hundreds of years of experience being able to find talent with the Rhodes Scholars Program. Here, to be able to spread the word and to be able to do the outreach, we found many different partners who are working with youth such as Ruby. In Africa, for example, we're working with the Halley Network, NBA Africa, AIMS, and other groups who are interacting with youth who have brilliant ideas and are in need of opportunity. So many of our partners help identify youth. Some of them are larger organizations such as Science for Society and the International Science and Engineering Fair, which yields individuals who are much more in the STEM fields. We have other partners such as United World Colleges that provide other benefits for us, such as scholarship opportunities for youth. So one, we work with partners who have access. We also interact with a lot of teacher groups. The teachers tend to be our talent scouts. They're very aware of the individuals, not only those individuals that test well, but those individuals who are sometimes in the back of the room, who are bored or sometimes acting out because they're not being challenged and their needs aren't being met through traditional ways. So part of what we want to do is to design a process that's more inclusive. Instead of traditional measures that require essays and transcripts and test scores, we wanted to design a process that was very video forward. So Ruby was one of those individuals who, as part of her application process, also recorded videos. And those videos described her process and her project over time. She submitted those videos, but also other individuals like Ruby who were applying for the RISE opportunity submitted videos and they provided peer reviews of each other. So the peer review component was very important to know what you think of other projects. And then as we advanced through the selection process, we had other experts who were reviewing that. And then ultimately, when we had selected our 500 finalists, we brought them together for a 4 to 5 hour finalist day experience where they were collaborating, doing group problem solving, which gave us another dimension of these individuals and what they can do in a synchronous and asynchronous environment.
All right. I mean, this is a real bet for the future. So you're not expecting to see things happen in the medium term, I guess. Unmute.
100.
Yeah. Carry on.
I think you could argue
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
among the group that we have among the 100 winners as well as the 500 finalists, many of them have already achieved some great things. But I think we're betting on the potential here. We're, as you heard from Ruby describe her plans, it's different from when I was Ruby's age, when we were thinking about career planning and we thought about the occupation and worked backwards to determine the skills and the programs. Many of these individuals of this generation, they're going to be working on jobs that have yet to be discovered or identified. And at ages 15 to 17, when they begin the application process to RISE, they're very passionate about many things. Their passion may not be the same area of their brilliance. Our hope is that we find individuals, we're taking a bet on them, and as we support them for life, we want to hold the opportunities that through the network and some of the other opportunities we bring to them, they become excited in different ways. They may be focused and have brilliance in applied mathematics, but then interact with other individuals who are in the sciences and may collaborate to determine how they can apply math to tackle some of the world's greatest problems. That's our hope, but we also want to be there for if Ruby comes back to us in her 30s or 40s and has like a brilliant idea, we want to be able to hear from her and see if there's some way that we could introduce her to others in the network that can advance her ideas or provide some financial assistance to her to scale those ideas and get proof of concept.
All right. Final word from you, Ruby. It sounds like it was a tough journey to get to this point, but you got through. What's your final thought, perhaps, for a young girl in particular who might not be sure to try and do something? What would you say to her?
Do it and do it afraid. Just do it. I remember for PGLF, Stephen Harrogate said that to us, and it's stuck with me. If you love something, if it's science, if it's music, if it's poetry, if it's biology or just community service, just do it, and do it afraid if you don't believe you can do it. And don't let anyone stop you from achieving your dreams. Find opportunities, find RISE, find other opportunities online that are going to support you with your dream, because you should do what you love. And if you have the passion for it, then you need to work towards it.
Ruby, I think your parents knew exactly what they're doing when they named you, because you're quite a gem. Thank you so much indeed. Congratulations, well done. And Mark, thank you for the work that RISE is doing, because, the future can look so much brighter as a result of what you're doing. Thank you so much. Thank you to both. Thank you very much. So there you have it, the latest RISE 100 global winner, Ruby Mcculloch from the Western Cape, and her future looks pretty bright. And in turn, I guess we might see some amazing things in the world because of young people like her.